because I so much.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, we're going to start with reading class. We're going to start with reading. Ana Maria, you have your lips in different color now. That's a filter, right? I was thinking that you were wearing some.
Yeah, in Efectos de Estudio.
Hmm. Okay, let's start. Just let's finish to read while we're waiting also for the rest of your classmates. They are not connected. We're going to finish to read the story. Let's see what happened at the end. Remember that this is story from Train to Somewhere. It's talking about 14 children that they're going to be adopted in different places, right? So we're going to finish with the reading. Is that
Very good.
no? Yes. So at the end, it's remembering all of the children were adopted. Zachary, Mavis, it was Susan, a little girl that is called Susan, Nora, but it was missing just Miriam to be adopted, right? So by the end, if you read that pages of the story, you're going to find out that at the end she was adopted. Miriam was adopted at the end, right? We don't know the name of the place. We just know that it's somewhere. So that's the name that it gives. It says that somewhere it was adopted. This girl was adopted at the end by a couple. Here in the picture, you see that one couple is adopted Marian. Okay. Now, do you have any questions? Any questions about this story? Something that you want to share that calls your attention? This story that I trained to somewhere.
It's really long, the story.
It's a long story, yes.
It's really interesting.
Interesting. Is it interesting for you? Yes. Yes, it's interesting that the way that it described what happened. Now, remember that happened in real life, the train of the orphans, but not the names of the places. Not
Imaginary, the names.
That's right, they are imaginary. Now, I'm going to display the presentation. We're going to review about it. You don't have to copy anything. This is a review. Train to somewhere, remember. Just remember some things about this story. Don't get nervous about the exam that this story is coming. I'm gonna ask you some questions like, who was the last girl that was adopted? We know that it was Marian, the last girl, or I can ask you something like, how many children were on the train? How many children were on the train? You remember how many children were on the train? No, at the beginning it mentioned there were 14 children, I think. Now here I have the information, the picture about it. Something like that I can ask you. It says that this is a story of 14 orphan children. So there were just 14 children on the train, and the last one was Marian that was adopted. Now, remember what is setting. Do you remember what is setting, class? That definition comes in the exam. What is setting?
Setting is un escenario en español.
But in English, how can you explain what is setting in English?
But an example, my house is a place. Walmart
That's right.
is a place. Estados Unidos is a place.
That's right. The setting tells you a place where or when something happened. About a place, we were saying United States, it's a place. That's right. So it can be a setting of the story. So the setting describes the where, the place, or the time that the story happens. For example, we have the story Train to Somewhere. The setting is
the train, New York and Chicago.
That's right, the train from New York. So we can say that the setting at the beginning of the story is that it was a train. They were this 14 orphans were on the train from New York City. So as we continue reading, we know that they are moving from New York at the beginning, then they are going to another place. If you remember, you copy one timeline. In the timeline, you have that in Chicago, someone was adopted. Then, so it means that the city changed. They are not in New York, they are in Chicago. After that, they are at Kilgore, they are at Glover, the Glover station. So we know that the setting is changing because the train is moving. The train is moving, so it's moving from one place to another. Remember, setting is where something happened. When the time, in this case, the time, it was on the 50s and the 20s. That's the setting of this story, where and when. Tell me, Khaled.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What significated the S?
What is the meaning of the letter S at the end of these numbers?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good question. It says from the midst, okay, we have the S, that's right. Thank you, Khaled. This letter S means on the 20s, so we can read this 20s, or you can say 120s. That time, that's the meaning. That is just for writing the decade that it happened. This. Mm-hmm. So we rated this number, you say, on the 50s till the late 20s. That's the way that we read these numbers. Okay, now, tell me, Rebecca.
I studied reading yesterday, and me salía the page 16 and 30. But no is this story.
Number 16 and 30.
Yes, I don't remember what page.
Okay, remember that the stories, you need to remember some things. It's from Train to Somewhere and A Visit with Grandpa. The Visit with Grandpa, it's on page 23. What you have to remember from these two stories, you have to remember the names. For example, A Visit with Grandpa, you have some questions in your notebook. So study that questions. Read the story one more time to remember what happened. Now, Train to Somewhere. What things you copy in your notebook about Train to Somewhere? You copy a timeline, right? You have a timeline in your notebook. So, yeah, so you're going to study the timeline about of this story, Train to Somewhere. That's what you have to copy, the things that you copy in your notebook. The definitions, remember the definitions of the vocabulary of the words of the two stories. You copy that information in your notebook, right? You have it in your notebook, yes or not?
Yes, that too.
Yes, that's right, that too. So don't worry about it. The things that you have in your notebook is the things that you have to study, but you can reread one more time the story to remember what happened in each of them. What happened on A Visit with Grandpa and what happened in Train to Somewhere. Yes. Okay, just as a review also, I have some questions. You don't have to copy anything. This is just a comprehension question. Let's see if you understand what happened in this story and Train to Somewhere. So let's see, Joshua, help me to read number 1, please, Joshua.
The feather Marine carries in her pocket is a reminder of her mother, gift from Nora, decoration for her hair.
Mm-hmm. If you remember in the story, it mentioned that she was carrying something in her pocket. What do you think it means that?
A reminder of her mother.
That's right, it was a reminder of her mother. Remember that Marion at the beginning, it's recalling her mother. So she has that in her pocket. Excellent. Number 2, let's see, number 2, help me to read, Valerie. Read number 2, Valerie.
Which sentence best describes the lesson in this story?
Mm-hmm. Read A, B, and C.
I don't know.
You're not sure what it describes the lesson of the story? Sometimes what you get is better than you wish for. Children should learn to do things that please adults, or friends are usually more important than relatives. What do you think? What do you... Don't worry. No, no idea. Danny, no.
David?
Letter B, says Rebecca. Okay, it's letter A. Why letter A? Sometimes what you get is better than you want, you wish for. Remember that Marian was waiting for something. She was waiting to find her mother in the other places that the train was moving, but at the end she found a good family, a good couple that they adopted. So we can describe the lesson of the story that she was waiting for something, but she get another thing, and it can be better. No, not just what she was waiting for. Copy. Okay, now let's see. Here we have another question. Let's see, Santiago Chavez, read the next one. Read this, Santiago.
Which event in this story happens before the train leaves New York?
Okay, New York. A, B, or
Miss.
C?
Miss,
Tell me, Yoshi.
New York is no está bien escrito.
You make a mistake.
Yes, here is New York. Excellent. Sian, tell me.
You need to write this.
No, you don't have to write this. You don't have to copy this.
Can I help Chavez? No,
I
was adopted.
Okay, let's see. Santiago, you know the answer of this
The
question?
C.
Yes?
C.
Okay, let's see, Santiago. Which answer you think is the
C.
what is the answer for question number 1?
B.
B? Okay, it says Marian's
Tengo que
mother
estar
lives
seguro.
here at St.
Let's see.
Christopher. Letter C, you say. Letter C. It was the answer. Let's see, Sian. What is your answer, Sian? Sian, what is your answer for that one? Santiago says letter C.
Khaled says C.
Khaled's letter C.
I think number 8.
Number B.
Letter B.
Number 8.
Number B.
I think number 8 means.
Okay,
No,
who says
number
letter
B.
B? Who says letter B?
Marcelo.
Marcelo. That's right. Before Marian leaves New York, something else happened. Before that, the mother, or Marian's mother, leaves her at St. Christopher's. So
Teacher.
the mother leaves Marian at St. Christopher's in that place, and then she boarded the train to New York. Tell me, Marcelo.
Teacher.
Pero
New
tiene
York
más sentido la C.
está mal.
Yes, here is New York. This is with W.
Es
Pero tiene más sentido la C.
Letter C makes sense, Miss Randall.
Y Robo gives the children meat and cupcakes.
Yes, it makes sense.
Una fiesta de leche y galletas.
It makes sense, but if you remember, Khaled, if you remember on the story, it says that Miss Randall gives children milk and cookies when they were on the train. They were on the train like in Chicago. But before they were on the train, happens this. This happened, yes, that happened on the story, but they were on the train. They were not in New York. They were in another place. So that's why it's not the answer. Yes, letter C. Now, let's see number 2. Caleb, read the number 2.
Miss, I don't listen to you really good. Me voy a desconectar y voy a volver a entrar.
Okay, don't worry. Let's see Danny. Read number 2, Danny.
Ah, Miss, pero yo la quiero leer. Ya se
In
me
this
confundió.
story, Marianne's biggest disappointment was
Mhm. What was the biggest disappointment for Marian?
number
Danny?
8.
Later. They are letters. ABC letters.
Miss Sharon.
Letter A.
Miss Sharon.
Okay,
Sí.
let's see. You say B. Okay, Danny, Camila, tell me.
Max is here.
Okay. Do not get distracted with Max. Letter B
Your
says
dog.
Danny, you say letter B. In this story, the biggest disappointment was leaving Miss Randall. Do you think that Marian was sad leaving Miss Randall?
I say A.
A? Oh, okay, sorry. Knowing her mother hadn't come for her, that's right, that's the answer. She was so
Yes.
sad, disappointed because she was hoping to find her mother, right?
Mom, no.
Mhm. But she didn't arrive. So she was disappointed. She was sad for that reason. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, let's see letter C. Okay. Here we have some questions. You don't have to copy this. Just some questions that we need to read just to remember some things that happened in the story. Khaled, read number 1. Question and answer, Khaled.
What do you think we kill on the train hopes to find in the West? They want to find a good family to be adopted.
That's right. They are hoping to find a good family to be adopted. Number 2, read number 2. Andrea, read number 2, Andrea. Question and answer.
Why do you think Marine touched the feather in her pocket as she says? She beat there, she wants me. She's reminding her mother.
That's right. Once she tucks her pocket, she's reminded her mother. Excellent. Number 3, Rebecca.
Why is it important for the children to change into their good clothes again? Because he wanted to look nice and be adapted.
Remember that each time that they change train, also they change clothes. They want to look nice. Remember that they are going to be adopted, so that good impression they want to give to the people they are going to adopt. Okay, and the last, number 4, Isabella. Read number 4, Isabella. Oh, Isabella. I think it's not working, your mic. No. Okay, let's see, Kiara. Read number 4, Kiara.
What was the sequence of events they followed at each stop? First, the children got off the train. Then they were lining up for inspection. Adults looked them over. Next, some children were played with family. Finally, the rest of the children go back on the train.
Excellent. That is a sequence. Every single time they were on the train, they got off the train, they make a line. They were lined out, they make a line for inspection. The adults looked them over. When they were on the line, the adults looked who is the children that they're going to adopt. Some children were adopted and others not. So the children that were adopted, they were with the family, but the children that were not adopted, they go back on the train. Okay, now don't forget, for the exam, what you will have to do is to study the vocabulary, to review the vocabulary definition of the stories, and some important things about this story. Some important tips. Okay, any question before we go, class? Any question?
Miss, we have to read the 2 stories too.
Yes, read the 2 stories and study the things that you have in your notebook, the annotations that you have in your notebook.
Okay.
No, Miss, ese es mucho.
It's too much. You don't have too much things
It's
written.
too more.
It's too much.
Yeah, that's so long. The stories is so long.
It's too long.
¿Cuántas preguntas
No,
exámenes? ¿Ahora sí es?
Sí, son muy
No,
largas.
don't worry, don't worry. When you are going to have the exam of readings Monday, right? And Monday you're going to see that it's easy. The
Vamos a
exam
hacer
for
la
reading.
examen.
Yes, I'm going to show you.
In Monday high reading.
Yo estoy nervioso con el examen.
Mire, tenemos este mayor exámenes.
Okay,
El hora-
Monday you have math and you have reading. The exam of math and reading. That's Monday. It's 2, you have it. What it says, study for your notebook. What is the meaning of setting? What is the meaning of the sequence? Just that.
Miss,
Mije, viernes vamos a estudiar francés, ¿verdad?
Mhm.
Miss,
Tell me.
mire, es cierto lo que... Así miran los maestros. Pero nosotros lo miramos así.
Okay, no, it's not too much. Don't worry. Okay, let's finish here. Enjoy your day. Don't forget, if you are missing one homework, you have to send that homework today and tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Bye-bye.